That's awesome. Yes, sure. We can change the instant.
Oh,
okay.
No, not yet.
I think we can start.
Should go on your home screen.
Everyone's okay?
Yeah.
I'm good. I can these.
Right. We okay?
Oh,
Start.
I'm just generally Microsoft, so we'll get there.
Well, look, kia ora koutou katoa, everyone. Hello and welcome to the first meeting of the Cromwell Community Group for this training. It's lovely to see the new members around the table and the returning members. Congratulations on those results. I'm only here just to officiate the first part of the process, and then once we have the chair selected, I'll be handing over to the chair, and then the chair will select the deputy chair and work our way through the agenda items. But the first one is there's no apologies. There are no public speakers. So we can go straight into the declaration of office, and the mayor is here to officiate for that. And we can get cracking.
Very exciting. And it's enough for me for water. So do we get to come up first, please, Greg? Just read it out loud and then you can. Thank you.
I, Rebecca Anderson, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of Central Otago the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Central Otago District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
Hey, yes. Oh, I never realised it was terrible.
Yeah, you have to do this more like.
It's massive. It is. I'm changing it, is it? I, Sarah Brown, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgments, execute and perform in the best interests of Central Otago the powers, authorities, and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Central Otago District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act. Judge. Fine.
All right, Tinakoto Council. I, Mike Casey, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of Central Otago the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Central Otago District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
That we know our alphabet, we do it well done. In your
Yeah,
house,
well,
I was growing up.
I, Anna Harrison, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of Central Otago the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Central Otago District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987 or any other act.
This is a time trial. Come on, Wally, you're up. I'm just hanging Wally.
I, Wally Sanford, declare that I will faithfully and impartially and according to the best of my skill and judgment execute and perform in the best interests of Central Otago the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as a member of the Central Otago District Council by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, or any other act.
I feel delivered.
Fantastic. Right, well, we can get on to the next part. And so it's really to do with the report 25.8.2, the appointment of a chair and deputy chair. And before we do that, we just have to select the system that the community board will use to select the chair and deputy chair. So the papers there, it puts two options, option A or B. Previously, the community board chose option B. So I throw it open to the community board to discuss. But if someone wishes to put the motion, we can agree to that as well.
No.
I'll leave it in that case then.
Okay, so we'll move select system B.
And I'll second.
Is everybody happy with
All right. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
All those against say no. All right, motion carried. Okay, so there we go. So we'll use option B. And so are there any nominations for the chair of the Cromwell Community Board?
I'd like to nominate Hannah.
Okay, thank you. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
All right, and so we have a nomination. Are there any other nominations? Right, and this is what than the other two. Okay, but I'll put the motion. We have a pose and a seconder. All those in favour say aye.
Aye.
All those against say no. Carried. Thank you, Anna. So I will now hand over. Your name tag.
Governance resumes for another 3 years.
I'll pick up all the other stuff and I'm going to play with.
Still getting.
Thank you so much.
I just love you. That's what we used to make.
Adjusted to Peter. I thought it was very like, I thought David was.
Victoria.
Oh, that one. Are you? No.
That's right. Yeah, don't mind Sarah, who's doing all that donkey work here. She'll just balance.
Kia ora koutou, no mai haere mai, and welcome to this new triennium for the Cromwell Community Board. It's wonderful to have such a fantastic team around the table. I think that our Cromwell voting public did an exceptional job in choosing the people sitting around here. And it's really great to have you back around the table, Sarah, as our appointed councillor. Really appreciate that.
On this time, eh?
I know it's a bit of a change, but I don't think that our representation is going to be diminished because I know that you have a strong voice for Cromwell when you sit around the council table. So I'm sure that we will still have that. Really great, Wally, to have you back sitting at this table as well. You ask lots of good questions, keep everybody on their toes, and it is wonderful to have two great new people, Mike with your enthusiasm and entrepreneurial spirit, and Rebecca with your pragmatism and hard work ethic. So welcome everybody, and welcome Tammy today as around our table, and thank you for conducting the first part of the meeting. That takes us to the second part of the agenda item that we were working on, which is of course the election of our deputy. Do I have any nominations for deputy chair?
I'd like to nominate Wally, please.
And a seconder?
Yes, please.
Are there any further nominations? All in favour? Super. So it does say break and photos. Is that what's happening next?
Well, I think we're just carrying on with this. The photographer isn't here, we've obviously been far too speedy, so I'm actually going to call on Mike, who's going to formally open our meeting with a karakia today.
Thank you. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mā kinakina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai, he hi aki ana te atakura, he tio, he hoku, he huka, he hohu, he hei, mauru.
Thank you for doing that for us. Right, then that takes us to item 25.8.3, which is on page 18 of your agenda and is the adoption of the standing orders. And Peter, you're going to take us through that process.
Yeah, so you'll see there reading that we just had the report we received. You'll know that there is that bill going in the House, so we expect that to be finalised and passed the legislation later next month. And so this is just tying us over until that bill is passed, which that becomes mandatory. And as the Mayor pointed out at one between the boards, well, this is the framework when it all goes to custody, and we haven't had to use. Well, I have in my short time understanding it's I don't know that we've ever had to do about that vote standing orders, but it is a useful guide in many things. I think it's been noticed the motion of those things. Yeah, happy to have a conversation. It's very important.
And I'm sure that over time, as we get into our work as a board, these will become clearer what it means and how meetings run and the ways that we work together are all sort of described within those standing orders. So that should become clearer as we work together anyway. So the recommendation is that the report be received. So we need a mover and a seconder for that.
I'll move it.
Thanks, Wally. Seconded. Thank you, Rebecca. All in favour? That takes us to item 28. Sorry, not 28. We're not at 2028 yet. 25.8.5 on page 134 of your agenda, which is the council organisations and policy on appointment of directors. Tom, sorry, I missed the code of conduct. It's on page 105. So sorry, Peter.
That's fine. I'll go over the hand over the way.
That's okay. Let's do that first and then we'll hand over to Wayne.
Likewise, this one is again, the government, the legislation is bringing out a mandatory code of conduct that we passed into law in December. But between now and then, it's prudent to have a code of conduct, policy document, and so that's what this recommendation was. Happy to have a chat.
Are you aware of anything, are you aware of anything changing?
No, the draft has been circulated and LGBT and other groups have commented on it. What comes back, we'll see with the legislation, but I just think with code of conduct and with standing orders, councils are free to sort of cherry pick pieces from them and leave things out. I think here the government's just saying let's just have a mandatory one. And
that certainly happened in education. School boards now have a mandatory one.
Yeah.
So that's been a move that the government's been making with, yeah. It's pretty straightforward. It's about behave yourself. That is what's expected of you and the way that you conduct yourself as a member of this board. So the recommendations are that we receive the report and accept the level of significance. Notes the advice that Peter's just given us that the legislation is likely to change. Sounds like someone just put it back into the building. That we adopt this existing code of conduct and note that the new one will be in effect in December, which means that it will be at the beginning of next year that we adopt any new code of conduct. Do I have a mover and a seconder for those recommendations, please? Thank you. Thanks, Wally. favour? I'm going to get you on the agenda soon, Mike, on the minutes, definitely. Any second.
No, get up. I'm not good.
Oh, you can turn it back. You don't have to. Right, now we'll jump to where I was before, which is on page 134, which is council organisations policy on appointment of directors, page 134.
One, now, this, well, the voting is for your information. And we, guess it follows on to the next one, we're making appointments, the various, types of organisations. All of your, community groups that you, have a liaison for, this would count for that. Director and
And the,
and the
It's me.
no, we did it
no,
round this table. Yeah.
It's me anyway.
So Cockatoo, College Trust,
Yeah.
and I think the Museum Trust when they take on new trustees.
Yeah.
And things.
really just take that into consideration that this policy exists. Those appointments come up. It's those ones, they come up and use a vacancy within them. They don't come up at the start of the training.
No, they don't, and they can come up at any time. It depends on how their board functions, like the hockey turf, it's not very frequently in the, from a college trust, it's been once in the 9 years that I've been on.
Maybe 3 years ago. Yeah, it's about.
No, just as they arise. Okay, so our recommendation on page 134. Page, yes, is that we receive the report and accept the level of significance and note that the contents of this report when making appointments elsewhere in the agenda receives and notes the contents of the policy on appointment and remuneration of directors to council controlled organisations and council organisations, which doesn't really have a huge amount of relevance to us. Most of the time we're not on those organisations ourselves. So, mover and a seconder, please. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Laurie. All in favour? Right, then that takes us to the appointment to subcommittees and other community organisations, which is on page 140 of the agenda.
Yeah. And historically, the Cromwell Community Board have nominated members to represent the community board and be the eyes and ears for these various committees or community groups. Our colleagues at the Vincent Community Board wanted to review this list because they felt there'd been some evolution with the community groups that perhaps wanted groups being added to the list. Maybe some groups had folded as well. So there's that to consider if that's relevant here as well.
I've had communication from the Friends of Cromwell Cemetery and they would like to be considered to be included on this list and have a liaison member. There are some groups that really love having somebody on there and some who are very hard to get a hold of and don't necessarily want to have somebody there because once it's decided, they are informed of who their liaison is and it's up to them, up to that organisation to invite you along. You can contact them, but to try and set up that relationship. Ones that have been probably the most active over the last term have been the Museum Trust. Cromwell Youth Trust has historically had a liaison. You were that person last time, has that carried on?
Yep, at this stage they're going through the evolution themselves and looking for new trustees as well. But
Certainly the old Cromwell Incorporated and
Sure.
Cheryl was that person last time, and the Cromwell District's promotions group, and that was Bob last time. They're groups that have been very active in their liaison with council, with community board, and with the person that's been.
So you want,
Appointed to them.
you wanting us to be appointed to a committee today, or is it something?
It's usually done on at this meeting,
This meeting?
and then it's then our governance team will send out the letters to those organisations.
Okay.
We have had somebody on the that group called Community House, but what they used to be called something
Oh,
different.
that's in the bottom there, that's in the
Yeah.
state.
Advisor group no longer.
Advisor group no longer exists.
Oh, you're off the hook, mate.
The Rippenfeld Hall wouldn't either, would it?
It's,
And the community board, they looked a bit of time with this, so they left
Yeah.
this on the table.
So we can leave it on the table. Maybe that gives an opportunity to contact these organisations and see if they're still interested in having a liaison, see if they're still there. I note that the in terms of the Resource Centre Trust and the Cromwell Community House, it talks about 5 representatives, but Cheryl was very much there as a liaison person, so they obviously have both.
And actually what the business
Yeah.
community board are looking to do is have a half day workshop with just the community board members.
Yeah.
And that was one of the areas that they were going to look at was the names for this and the other groups that should be on the list, and then bring that back. Well, whenever the next community board, that's sort of line that up, so we could facilitate it if that's.
Yeah, it certainly does seem to be some organisations on there that either no longer exist or aren't necessarily interested in having a liaison. Rebecca, what did you want to say?
I was just going to say that Resource Centre, that's that one, you appoint the trustees, so I think it's not asking for 5.
No, I knew that, but we still did have a liaison as well as the
Yeah,
appointment of the
as well.
trustees, yeah. Yeah,
The only one on here that I'm specifically interested in, mainly because I've been told that I'm doing it by the members of this group, is the Cromwell and Districts Community Trust. I'd like to put my hand up to be there as well. So,
Skills like you a lot.
oh, they do. So sometimes it's good to swim with the current, so let's do that one.
yeah, that's cool. We can certainly look at those ones that we know really want a liaison and sort of put some names next to that now, knowing that we're going to come back to it in a workshop and make sure we've got the right organisations. I know they definitely want some. I know the Friends of Cromwell Cemetery definitely want some, and the museum will continue to want some. I'm sure that the Youth Trust will as well.
Anything with the word Bannockburn or Terrace in it, Rebecca, you're taking.
Terrace overlapped quite a bit, and one of those roles is probably done, so it'd be good to reach out to them and
To ask them what,
just rejig into one role probably. So a little bit of crossover and a few things missed between Neil and I last time, they weren't sure those, so I'd definitely say that's one.
and I'd say there's probably some positions that we didn't have last time, did we? Oh, Neil was probably on the Lowburn Hall Committee because of his, where it is, yeah.
just with the Cromwell College Charitable Trust, I'm currently secretary of it, so I just need to separate. So,
Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
appoint a
okay.
liaison,
No,
we
that's
won't
right.
have anybody who attends those meetings, really good.
You know, is it appropriate to reach out to new and or different, like the cemetery have done, just to put the communication out in general, say if you think a liaison would be helpful contacts?
So Peter, can I ask for your guidance here? Did Vincent suggest any organisations to reach out to, or?
I can't recall if they named any at the point, but they felt that the list didn't look quite right, and
Yeah.
some of the newer members thought there might be some more groups out there that warrant.
I'm also aware that when we've only got a fewer number around the table that we can't really.
And I think that was part of the conversation that Vincent was wanting to have as well, is that actually is there a real benefit in having people appointed to those groups? There's nothing that stops you from going along to any of those meetings necessarily, and maybe the engagement takes a different form as opposed to just somebody being assigned to that group.
Which
So
is why I mentioned those few at the beginning, because there's certainly groups that have been strongly engaged with us, and we've heard a lot back through our liaison. So, yeah.
Anything that tidies up the communication channel would be good. Anything that was in that terrace that going on up there,
Yeah.
it'd be good to have somebody available.
and yeah, no,
All right. Oh, come on then. I don't like
But the DCB, the planning workshop, that's right,
Yeah.
to stay on this, so that would be
Okay.
good.
Be good to just cast the net a bit wider and see what's
Yeah.
out there that they may be interested in and support before we decide. It's a community thing.
Well, it should be
Both ways would be nice.
post up on the new Facebook page, just inviting people if they'd like one of us. to do
Yeah.
it.
Make a video.
Yeah, well, I touched on that.
Yeah.
As well.
All right. Okay. It certainly doesn't mean that anyone who still really wants a liaison from this list is going to get forgotten. So we'll come back to it. So the recommendation then is just to leave this to lie on the table and to come back to it in a workshop at a future date, where the list can be refined, and then we'll make decisions on the liaison, hopefully by our next meeting. You still need a mover and a seconder to leave it to lie on the table.
I'll move.
Ollie, Mike, all in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Wave it back to you to look at the proposed meeting schedule for the remainder of this year and for 2026.
So you see where the attachments, the remainder of 2025 to lead just one meeting on the 18th of November. Sorry, that's BCB. Whoops.
25th.
25th, okay. November. Very brief. Anyway,
I noted.
so the BCB meeting on the 25th of November, and then now we expressed the desire to have a look at a meeting on a 4-weekly cycle or monthly cycle. So we've done a calendar here for that. And what I'm proposing is the first Tuesday of each month.
Fine, just a button. Bring that.
So you have got that on your agenda, if it's easier for you to look at.
No.
Oh, that's the old one, that's all right, this is the proposed, okay.
Is the new and improved,
Which is not easy to read in that form.
but you'll see the dark blue up top there.
We are dark blue.
Yeah.
Council is
Council is.
What colours, council?
Last Wednesday of the month,
Magenta.
and I'm proposing that it to be the first Tuesday, simply because we don't want to clash with the Harry's Camel, which is the second Tuesday of each month. So that's why I'll put it up down there.
That's what you want, boss.
So I can't read it from here, obviously, other than just seeing the blue.
There's one, yes.
There's
There's
one.
one Monday.
Oh, yeah, there's one that's out. When was that? Just
Monday, February
Oh,
2nd,
that's right.
yeah.
Tuesdays.
Where's the council meeting in April, if they're not on?
Right, that's here, 25th, and working night.
Not 21, okay.
So that one is not much.
That one, yeah.
Not much to read.
Shops. We'll be, yeah.
Council's the last Wednesdays of the month.
That is,
Yeah, is that correct?
yeah. And so what we'd hope to do is maybe just have a look at it in 6 months or so,
Yeah.
see if it's working. And then probably, I don't know, sort of May, June times, and then maybe also again in about sort of September, which is when I'll be thinking about the 2027 calendar. Just to make sure that it's working. But you're just thinking about, you know, if there's sufficient workload and that sort of thing.
Okay, so the purpose of this is to try and better align so that our meeting cycle of 4 weeks is the same meeting cycle essentially that council had for their main meetings, so that we're not as skewed, offset in our 6-week cycle, that sometimes we align quite well and sometimes we don't align well at all. Any discussion?
This timetable gives plenty of room after CCB meetings to get reports to
To council.
council,
Yeah.
but
Does
Doesn't
give
work the other
time the other way around, yeah.
could give updates, I guess, for all this.
It is still the longest, so you probably have to be 4 weeks,
Yeah.
which is still, sometimes with the disconnect between as well, so 6 weeks. Getting something back from community board to council, council to community.
For decisions to be made, though, and things to go up to council, it's better to be this way around with the period between us. If we approve something for the council to consider, moving it up the chain within a week is better than
Yeah.
the opposite way.
The other thing to consider is, internally, when we're getting reports ready for council, there needs to be sufficient time. So if your meetings were later, there possibly wouldn't be sufficient time to get it to that meeting anyway.
Yeah,
The next meeting anyway. Because of when we have to get things ready, so that perhaps having it earlier, even though it doesn't work for something coming down to you, it would work much better for.
yeah, but then we've still only got, then it's still only 5 weeks until our next meeting, so it's still closer to our next meeting than it would have been previously.
There's no other pattern of Tuesdays that work in anyway.
No, there is no
The
other
first
pattern of
Tuesday
Tuesdays.
hearings, there isn't surely.
Okay,
That's much better than a 6 week, 4 week conflict.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'd be perfect, other times it'd be far from it.
absolutely.
And for me, the whole thing is just getting this locked in as super important.
We're just about to lock it in. You can move it if you like.
I'll move it.
Okay. So we adopt the proposed meeting schedule that's been, the revised meeting schedule that's been presented to us today. So thank you, Mike, he's moved that. Thank you, Wally, he seconded it, and all in favour?
And you can get that spreadsheet out voting us.
Yep.
Bye.
Your inbox will be full of meeting invites. When you're not. Okay. Right, so our meeting's gone a little bit askew because our photographer is stuck in the gorge.
Queensland.
What's that one shot?
So we can, so we won't go to the date of the next meeting.
We can.
Oh, we can, the next date of the next meeting, 25th of November. And then we can close the meeting and have our induction session before we have our.
That sounds good.
Thank you.
So if you will, is that open to the public, it's just like, to photos can be part of this extended learning to
I don't know the answer to that.
How good are you, people say?